Okay, I know there are lots of people that are for capitalism. I'm for capitalism. I'm just for a different kind of capitalism. I'm for a combination. I'd say I'm for salt. Okay, so maybe I should just say I'm for salt. Okay, and why I say salt is because it's a Christian. It's something that's mentioned in the Bible that said that we are the salt of the earth. If we lose our saltiness, um, what good are we? Okay, and I came to the realization early on that capitalism could be called chlorine gas, and sodium, and socialism could be called sodium, a metal. And sodium metal is an explosive, and chlorine. Oh man, you can see the hairs in the back of my neck. I'm sorry about that, but um, chlorine is well, capitalism is chlorine. Okay, so the reason why I made those combinations is that understand that sodium, in its worst form, as a metal, when they mix it with water, it explodes. It's very explosive. In fact, my father said that they, and he's a physicist. He said they used to throw sodium away. Someone did this. They took like a big old dump truck of sodium metal and they put it in a lake. I think it was one of the Great Lakes, and it exploded, caused big old fuzz. It ruined the environment, I guess. Who knows? But chlorine gas is a great fear of the government that some terrorist is going to come in and take out one of those chlorine gas canisters that run down the railroads. Some guy blows up one of those. It's going to take out 200,000 people. That's one of the fears. One of the terrorist fears of our government is that somebody's going to take out a chlorine gas um, thing. Okay, so those, and it's true of socialism and capitalism. Okay, capitalism. One of the worst forms of capitalism is what I call the company town, but there's other forms, and that's just that it tends to exploit people. But and there's a reason why the socialism took up. But I don't really understand all of the socialism. I just understand what's good for people is to have enough. It's This is the way I think about it. If you're going to run any kind of company and you're just taking everything you can out of your workers, it's basically like a car that's running without any oil. Okay, it's got no lubrication. It's rubbing against itself. Eventually, that thing is going to get hot. It's going to it's going to start pumping. It pops. You hear a lot of popping in vehicles that don't have oil, and eventually it overheats. It dies. Okay. If you put a little bit of lubrication, it's okay, but it's not fantastic. You had need to have adequate lubrication. How you do that is you give back to your employees a little bit or quite a bit, enough to keep them around, because otherwise they're not going to want to stay with you, because and the thing is that um, even with the employer I have right now, they're not going to pay anybody an adequate wage or anywhere near a living wage. They're going to pay minimum wage, and then they're going to cut back their prices, and they're going to say, well, we can save time and money, and they're going to lay one thing on another, one lie over another, just to get their way. And what it usually does is the management become linear thinking, not very smart, not very creative. Um, Creative thinking is things like this. I could fix Kroger in no time at all. Focus on focus on giving to the customer something that it doesn't get with any of the other stores. Very simple. Get a refrigerator, stuff water in it, give people free waters. It's cheap. It doesn't cost hardly anything. And if you give them free waters, then all the other stores are going to have to do this. You see? But I think the thing that they're afraid of is if they do that, then the other stores are going to do something great, and then they're going to have to do something great, and pretty soon everybody's kind of losing some money. But the thing is that somebody has to get out and do it, or nobody does it at all. and everybody's able to work the opposite direction, which is cutting back on their prices. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to make a lot of money by getting people in the door, lying to the about or offering them a special deal on a small amount of goods, and then when it gets all taken, people are in the store and they're looking around for something to buy up. If that's the case, then why not offer special shows or something, an incentive to go into the store? Like, maybe you have a special radio show that nobody else has on the internet, where you introduce new musicians that can't get record contracts. And then all the other stores have to do the same, but nobody loses money on that. It's about trying new things. If you're not willing to reinvent the wheel, well, not reinvent the wheel. If you're not willing to invent new solutions to come up with greater ideas of how to do things, if you're always afraid that you're going to get taken in by your enemy or by your competitors, or if you're always afraid, if you're just falling back on cheap, stupid things, then nobody's life is going to be made any better by going to your store versus going to somebody else's store. It's just going to be a choice. But if you can make what you provide is unique, such as getting everybody's carts, having people devoted to just taking carts from the customer and putting them in the corrals, then the other stores are going to have to do that, and then everybody's lives are made a bit better. It may cost you more, but you're bringing to the world some flavor. If you're not doing that, the world is less flavorful. The only time anything tastes good is at home. Every other time, there's no point in going outside. So probably the best thing for those people that want to stay inside their house where everything is flavorful and the rest of the world is not, is to get Instacart and ship to people to go and buy your groceries for you in those stores. And then whenever you decide that you want to buy from Amazon, you can do that and have shipped. And well, that's the problem, you see, is that if you don't offer something special in your store to people to want to come to the store, then they're going to use Instacart and Shipt. And then after Instacart and Shipt, they're going to make choices on their computers to buy from people who do not have storefronts like Amazon. See, so the thing is and the other thing is, I can also point out a reason why you as a consumer will not want to buy from cheap food and things like that, things that are at a discount, is because usually it's not the case, and they're just trying to get you in there to buy something. You'll go across town to save a little bit of money, or even if you think you can go across town to save enough money to cover your gas expenses, you're going to waste time to go across town to do that. And you're telling the people you love, you don't matter to me as much as me saving some money to go across town to waste some time to save some money to go across town. You don't matter that much. See, so you just ruined people's perception of you. Now you should say, well, to me, and so I don't have a family and blah blah blah. And so big deal. I don't care. You can have it your way, or you can have it, And now that we got COVID, everybody has to stay at home, so they have to explore those alternatives. Now the stores have to do something better to get people to come in, because otherwise they're going to sit at home. Either they're going to buy from Amazon, they're going to buy through Shipt. They might go in and risk COVID to come into the store. But you can't enter a Kroger store now without a mask. So if you're trying to avoid if you want to go to Kroger and you want to shop without a mask, you can't. What you do is you get Shipt or Instacart to do it for you, and then you don't have to wear a mask. That would be a solution. That would be a solution for the people that don't want to wear masks. Okay. But I'm saying the thing is that there's a lot of creative ways that you can shop, and there's a lot of creative ways that you can think about things these days. We got the internet, we got all these influences, we got influences from YouTube, we can make decisions about how to do things. And when I say I'm socialist, I'm really saying I'm salt. I'm for capitalism and socialism at the same time. They both belong in the same picture. The difference is you don't go like the old communistic types that were overthrowing capitalistic empires and stuff in order to give stuff to the people. You don't do it through beating people up. I would say I'm the peaceful socialist. I would be like Jesus. Jesus was a bit socialist. He was all for the little people at the bottom. He didn't want to go up and climb any hierarchies, you know. So Jesus brought forth the idea of salt. Okay, we are the salt of the earth, and so I'd say it is probably no mistake that somewhere in the future, capitalism would start with a C and socialism would start with an S, and it's the same letters that are sodium and chlorine. Maybe it was me to bring forth to everybody the idea of salt as being socialism, capitalism mixed together, a society, way of civilizing. Um, you know, you make great amount of money for your individual. You as an individual, you patent something, you make some money, you make some products. You take some of what you have and you give a tithe. Okay, this is a Christian term, tithe or Bible term. You give a 10% of what you got to God. Okay, you give 20%, which is according to what David suggested, or no, was it David? No, it was Moses. I'm saying David. Moses told Pharaoh, "This is what you want, is to do 20% tax, and that will keep yourself afloat." So I would say um, government tax 20%, 10%. Give back to the community, give to church, give to charity, whatever. If you can't go to church, give to charity, give to the people around you. That's even better than giving to a charity, because you're trying to make the environment around you a bit better, letting people know that they're loved, and letting them know that there's something beyond just take, 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 take. Because even Kroger can't do it right, because they what's gonna happen is that I'm probably gonna make a big stink, and then they're gonna start seeing that I'm doing something that they're not doing, and then they'll probably clone what I'm doing, and that's fine, because that's what I'm aiming for. Okay, and I'm starting to see a little bit of that, but they're going to start putting stuff. They're going to make their customers' lives better. They're going to make their workers' lives better, and they're going to find in that their true goal in life is to make everything better for everybody. Okay, the problem is that in the past, somebody just decided that the only purpose for something, that a corporation is to give back to its creditors uh, as much money as possible. A fiduciary responsibility to your creditors. You, because of that, you have to give all your money. You have to just keep, even if you do things for charity, you're going to do it and you're going to make money off it. They're selling school supplies right now, and those boxes, if you look at them, you can tell there's only about $5 worth of supplies in there, and they're making a $2 margin on top of that, and that $2 margin is them making money off of charity. Okay, they can't they can't do anything for charity without making money on it, because of the fiduciary responsibility to the creditors. They can't take a loss. Okay, and that's modern capitalism. And that's the reason why I tend to be kind of socialist, is that they will not take a hit. They will not take a big risk in order to make money. Okay, because they can see all those sorts of other things that could come wrong of it. Like just as I said, you do this one thing, then everybody else does this one thing, and then you do another thing, then everybody else, and it's just a game to see how much you can outdo the other stores. And the conservative approach is to just sit around and wait for somebody to make it harder for the rest of the stores. So, like if Walmart starts to offer their employees, they're offering them better wages. I don't see what Kroger's doing. And what are they doing to make it a little bit better so that you don't want to go and work for Walmart? Or how is it much better to work for any of these guys and work Amazon? Amazon's much harder. It's Olympic. It's an Olympiad event. You know, if you're not if you don't if you're not young enough and healthy enough, you can't work at Amazon. Um, that's just the truth. That's because the way they work and the bar they're aiming for, the goals they're aiming for. Kroger could consider themselves to be a large convenience store with variety. See, what they offer no other stores do, such for Trader Joe's and some of those guys, is they offer variety. Trader Joe's doesn't even really offer health food. Kroger has a whole health and organic line that's like only maybe $1 more than any of the other products that they've got of their brand products. It's called the Simple Truth, and Simple Truth is organic food. It's even sold in the health area of the store. So that's one way that they add value is they offer you organic food, alternative food, foods that people can eat that have all sorts of problems. And the reason why I chose to work for Kroger in the first place is because I saw them as a good grocery store. I've been impressed in the past by their offerings, and I'm still impressed. I just wish that they would listen to their employees more rather than just patting them on the back and trying to get them to go a little bit faster and pitting them against each other without paying them, without giving them monetary incentives. It's just for them like a game. And I think that the people that work in the stores deserve more in the way of soul, not in the way of money. Um, it could be in money, monetary incentive would be good, but some soul. And it doesn't feel like soul because you do have to give some money in order to in order to put the soul into it. And um, for instance, I worked for 5 years. I get a they give me a like $20 um, gift, after 5 years, and basically just a clock. And maybe after 10 years, maybe they give me $40. That ain't enough. That's that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't give gifts like every 5 years. Little rings here and things like that. That doesn't really impress people that much. I think what I would do is I would change the kind of the environment of how everything is. Like for instance, what I do is every couple of days I'll throw some ice cream sandwiches into the refrigerator. I'll throw some tea. I'll get a little bale of iced tea. I'll throw it in the cooler. We used to not have a cooler up in front. I was the guy who encouraged them to get a cooler up in front, and Tim, our manager, put a cooler up in front. And Tim's a great guy. He's a fantastic guy, and so I've been putting stuff in there, and I've been putting ice cream sandwiches in the freezer. I actually give more back to Kroger than they give to me. The only reason why I'm there is just it's exercise for me, and plus I get pretty good medical benefits out of it. So I'm not really harping on Kroger or anything like that. I'm just using my position as an example just to show that there is a way that things could be made better. And they actually say in their guidelines that you're not supposed to do what I'm doing right now, but I'm doing it because um, to prove a point, and that is that nobody's going to watch my videos. Nobody's going to view these videos. Nobody's going to really care. The only time Kroger is going to really get hurt by what I'm saying is when somehow it gets into the limelight and everybody starts to watch the videos. And then is the second part of my plan is that they start seeing all this other crap I was talking about. Even before COVID, I was telling us that we need to give rights to the workers in China before we can have make America great again. That putting up a wall is not going to jack shit to improve our economy. We have to fix how we treat people in China. That was how, and I was talking about that way before COVID ever broke, you know. And now that we're seeing what's happening in China, everybody's like, "Wow, how we didn't know about this?" Fuck, you did, you know. All you have to do is look at the Walmart's the documentary about Walmart called the High Cost of Low Price. No fucking conservative cares about that shit. The conservatives are off watching football games thinking that their lives are perfect. And they don't understand that we're just sucking the life force out of the rest of the world. And we don't even realize how much people we're actually killing, you know. We think that we're not killing anybody, but I tell, you know, somebody came up to me once and said, "Hey, having a nice day. You're staying out of trouble." I said, "How do I know I'm staying out of trouble?" And he stopped and he was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "How do you know that you're not killing people?" And he took that and he said, I'm a airplane air traffic controller, and I make sure every plane comes in." And I said, "But you still don't know if you're a killer or not." And it says, and it made him mad. But what I was trying to say to him was, I was saying that any little choice you make in the world, you could say something wrong to somebody, and it might cause them to kill themselves later on because they took it to heart. Little things you say to people can build up into big mountains of things later on. So you have to be very careful about how you communicate to people. Um, so an example is Karen Carpenter. The reasons why she became anorexic, the producers were telling her, "You're not sexy enough." The reason why Michael Jackson was doing plastic surgery, or had plastic surgery done, some lady told him, what happened to my little Michael?" Those little things will stick in your head, and then you just can't answer it, and you try to fix it, and eventually the person is lost. There's story I got in English where there's this guy that there's this common story. This guy he had a wife, and she had a little blemish on her face that was like a little heart shape, and he was trying to get rid of it, so he was having her take certain chemicals to get rid of it. Eventually he kills her off and loses her in search of trying to fix a little blemish. It's like for the want of a nail, the army was lost, you know. Just focusing in on one small little thing, and then, you know, you can fix everything by, I mean, you can fix that one little thing, then everything is okay, you know. But maybe by trying to get everybody to understand that we need to be treating everybody better is that little thing, and I'm going to lose everything as a result of trying to make everything a little bit better. But complacency is worse than you know, nitpicking. I mean, if you're complacent, you're basically going to lose it whether you think you can keep it or not. So